Amazing, Helen. We're live. So just for everyone else's sake, could you just give a little brief introduction as to like who you are, who you help, and how you help them?
Yeah, so thanks for having me. I'm Helen Parker. I'm a confidence coach, hypnotherapist, and I also own what I call a unicorn of a business in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. And our hero experience, our USP, is putting people into the Rio Carnival on floats so they can live out an ultimate life experience.
Amazing. Yeah. And I'll put your link below, but go and check out Helen's stuff. It's super cool. It's amazing what you're doing. But just to come back to like our relationship together, I'm really curious, like what was the obstacle that you were facing that was kind of preventing you initially to work with me? Because you and I were speaking for quite some time, and you were thinking about it for quite some time. I'm just really curious about, around like that process for you and obstacles that you were facing and thoughts that you were having.
Yeah, so obviously, I mean, we met at Medicine Festival.
Hmm.
It was 2023,
Two,
right? Yeah,
three, yeah, yeah,
23,
three, yeah,
23.
yeah, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, so we met in a field, as, as, as you do with the best people in your life, usually in
Yeah.
a field or somewhere on a beach. And yeah, I just connected with you and your energy straight away, and the
Hmm.
guys you were with. Um, and obviously we got in touch from that point. I think because I've been going through a process in my life of a lot of asking myself a lot of questions, um, about really what I'm here for and why I do what I do and
Hmm.
what's the point of it and what's the bigger mission. And I'm a person that's always had a lot of social value in what I do. I've always wanted to make a difference from being a really small child. And I think a lot of it was installed in me from my father because he was a campaigner at a local level, at a national level, politically. So I was kind of brought up on the streets, fighting for stuff, placards in my hand,
Hmm.
making a difference to other people's lives. And so when I was in my corporate job, I was very lucky, or you make your own luck, but I was able to forge a corporate career which had social purpose attached to it.
Hmm.
So I built big programs, international, multinational programs that made a difference to young people's lives, thousands of them upon
Hmm.
thousands. And I I've always had this kind of like energy about me where I'm just like a natural leader. When I've got something in me, I just go and I want to bring everyone with me. And it's kind of it's magnetic by nature.
Hmm.
But I'd really lost that part of myself. I felt like I'd lost it when I walked away from my corporate job after
Hmm.
having brain surgery 10 years ago. And I forged a totally different path in my life, which was really about me healing and my personal development.
Hmm.
I'd retrained as a hypnotherapist initially just out of curiosity, really, to fill in some gaps about what had happened to me when I had emergency brain surgery
Hmm.
and what I'd experienced. But I ended up doing it because, when you have knowledge, what's the point of it unless you pass it on and make a difference to somebody else?
Hmm.
So I ended up doing hypnotherapy and working with people one on one. And then I had my daughter, and then I launched this business in Brazil, which I did with my friend who lives out there. And so I was kind of like in this place going, well, it's always been about people for me. It's always been about like seeing somebody for their true essence and their true potential and then unlocking that. And
Hmm.
that's what I was doing in my corporate job. And then with hypnotherapy, and then the business in Rio, it's doing that through an event, through an
Hmm.
experience. It's allowing people to become the most finest, most celebratory version of themselves on a world stage.
Hmm.
And it's amazing. But I was saying, well, what's it all for? Like, why am I doing all of this? And I'd been asking those questions and I'd got the answers. But my main obstacle is I didn't believe in myself. I was blocking my own self and my own energy and my
Hmm.
own creativity to bring these things to life. And kind of few things happened, and one of them was really connecting with you at the right time for me to then be in a place where then I could put myself out there and put this thing that I wanted to birth out there into the world.
Hmm.
So I guess and that's a long answer. Hopefully that was, insightful.
Hmm.
But I was my obstacle.
Hmm.
It was my own limiting beliefs. It was me getting in my own way,
Hmm.
basically.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah.
Mm. And we've worked together, I think, for around 6 months or so, maybe a little bit more. But what were some of the shifts that you experienced early on in our journey?
Yeah, so I mean, I knew that I needed to do something to really launch myself as a confidence coach. I was, working one-on-one as a hypnotherapist, and I had this big idea, and I already had a brand name for it, and I'd already sort of seen it. And
Hmm.
my movement that I'm creating is called Complete Confidence. Um, but I didn't know really where to start. And because I'd made things a lot more complicated, I think, in my own mind than they were through my patterns of becoming overwhelmed quite easily.
Hmm.
Um, I needed really help to break it down for me and to show me it was possible
Hmm.
in a way that I could then start to move. So yeah, that's where we started to work together. I think it was April of this year.
Hmm.
Um, and the first thing I did when I joined the ECC was actually a campaign on my Rio business to recruit women into a program that we run
Hmm.
in Rio, which is more about around Samba, women who actually do Samba classes. Um, and I've just found it incredibly helpful to have somebody guiding me around the strategy, around the tools, the techniques, the energetics as well,
Hmm.
around what to pull in, what to pull out, what to kind of how to do it, a roadmap,
Hmm.
really. Um, and when I get a focus on, or when I put my blinkers on, I'm a really good student because I'll listen,
Hmm.
and I would ask you direct questions and you'd say, do this, do that, try this, try that.
Hmm.
I did really what I was told, and it worked. And
Hmm.
that gave me confidence
Hmm.
in my own ability. Um, and also the structure and the discipline
Hmm.
around how to get it done.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's been a great journey.
Amazing. And what's some of the results that you actually experienced as a outcome of that?
Yeah, so we'd ran that program in this year's carnival, which was 2024. We'd launched it ourselves in 2023. And to be honest, I'm a person who's from a comms background. That's my degree. I spent the first half of my career in public relations, in marketing, in all of those disciplines. But I hadn't really got myself around the online game, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
So it was a bit trial and error, a little bit piecemeal,
Hmm.
pick it up, drop it, you know. And I think probably if women are watching this, they'll relate to that. We lead very multidimensional lives. I think we all do, but especially as women,
Hmm.
we have to juggle a lot. It's not an equal world.
Hmm.
We can still do the lion's share of the domestic tasks, the childcaring tasks, and we run businesses.
Hmm.
So we can be incredibly hard on ourselves as women.
Hmm.
And so you have, I think, more of an ability to sort of pick something up, not be consistent with it, and then tear yourself apart, tear yourself down,
Hmm.
for not showing up, and let that then really eat away at you.
Hmm.
So, we'd launched this program in the previous year, and I didn't give up. It took us a long time, but we got like 5 women on it for the first event, which was the carnival of 2024. And then off the back of that, because we had such incredible experience with the women there, and the video footage that we've got and the testimonials, we launched it when I was in the ECC in May, and we sold it out within 2 weeks. So it's 15 the max we'll take on the program's 15, and we sold it out within 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was a mix really of the content that we had, which was
Mm-hmm.
incredible, really underpinned by the strategy and the tactics
Mm-hmm.
and everything that I learned from you and within this community
Mm-hmm.
around how to deliver it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was even like the last one, and you were saying it's done, no, it's done. And then I had one more place. And I was like, what shall I do now on a group coaching call? And you went, send a voice note.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think about it. Just pick up your phone and do it.
Mm-hmm.
The one that you know in your heart and in your intuition is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it, and she just booked.
So good. So
And
good.
I just felt like this is it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is what, when you're in that flow of business
Mm-hmm.
and you've got that intersection that you talk about all the time between surrender and discipline,
Mm-hmm.
you feel unstoppable because you're like, well, if it doesn't work, I'll just try again.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just do something else,
Mm-hmm.
or I won't do anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just sit back and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's been a really amazing journey for me in the past 6 months. And
Mm-hmm.
I think something that, if women are watching this, and I really hope that they are, because women need to join your program for sure. um, a lot of the things that go out there, they're about systems and processes and these roadmaps, and I really was attracted to that because, as somebody that is ADHD, and I can like make things work in a very kind of melting pot of maybe it's chaos, but I know where things are.
Mm-hmm.
And I do, on the other side of that, because it's duality and everything, I do love process.
Mm-hmm.
And I was attracted to process and thinking, well, I want a system, and I want to be able to kind of really get some discipline and
Mm-hmm.
some order, which is, it's absolutely done that for me. But the other thing that it's given me is untold permission to just be myself, and to also like sit in things that are uncomfortable and sit in things that feel heavy, to have more faith and trust, really deep trust that it's all going to work out.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much in this community and working with you that's about the feminine side of mastery,
Mm-hmm.
like really listening, really tuning in, really like waiting and being patient,
Mm-hmm.
and not forcing things
Mm-hmm.
through. But also knowing when to flip the lever to push,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's been really really incredible.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And I'm curious, like, what was there anything that kind of surprised you the most about joining ECC and working with me that you weren't expecting?
I think just I think it's the level of like attention and dedication that's within this community, and all of the extra content and bonuses, and that you're not expecting, and they keep coming and coming and coming. And you know I've been on and off site with you in the in-person sessions. I had a
Mm-hmm.
huge breakthrough in the one literally the month after I joined,
Mm-hmm.
and that was really fueled by breath work, which has been a game-changing practice for me in my life anyway.
Mm-hmm.
um and I felt very held within that space to actually break down,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, I know I'm a therapist. When you really break down, that's when you break through.
Mm-hmm.
And I had such a massive realization about really what it was all for. And I wasn't probably expecting that, really,
Mm-hmm.
joining this collective. I thought it was going to be a lot of strategy and
Mm-hmm.
those masculine tools. So going back to my previous point, yeah, it was a lot of about the energetics actually,
Hmm.
um, and really where that vision comes from and how you birth that out of yourself.
Hmm.
Um, and just doing things like all the sessions we've done, with all the guest speakers and the improv, I
Hmm.
wouldn't have expected to go into a group coaching program and do improvisation,
Hmm.
things like that, but have been really creative and really been a like an embodiment. There's been a lot about embodiment, like what does that feel like to make a tit of yourself,
Hmm.
like just not care
Hmm.
and not care about you, just using your voice and saying
Hmm.
the thing that you just want to say. So there's been many things that we've done like that have been really, yeah, about an embodiment of what we're trying to do with coaching and what we're trying to help people with in their own lives.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. Bruce Lee's Breweries.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
so much fun.
exactly.
Amazing. Like, just final question, like, what would you say to anyone that's considering working with me and joining the ECC? And I suppose speaking also to maybe women here, because a lot of my testimonials are of men, and it's actually probably equal, maybe a third women in the program, two-thirds men. I'm not sure. It might be equal. I'm not sure. But maybe speaking to women as well, like, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I think that for women, like, what I said before, we do lead these very layered and quite complex lives,
Hmm.
where we have to be a lot of things to a lot of people all of the time.
Hmm.
And I think in joining a group like this, it really helps you be with a collection of people, men and women.
Hmm.
Like I've formed bonds with women and we've had independent chats about stuff, with raising kids a similar age, we can relate to each other. There's people in
Hmm.
there that you can relate to and they'll relate to you.
Hmm.
Um, and also, like men feel all this stuff, there's dads in the ECC that have got young kids and,
Hmm.
they're feeling guilt, these things aren't exclusive to women, you
Hmm.
know. Um, but I think what it's really helped me with, and I'm sure other women will relate to this, is just having some some systems and some ways of like dealing with things and having like compartments to put things in that you can make sense of
Hmm.
and that you can create that habit around them.
Hmm.
And it doesn't have to be perfect because life isn't, right, and none of us are. But like the things that I have now in my life, thanks to you and the systems that you promote and that you're passionate about, is that I have everything up, like scheduled, and I know where everything is, and I have
Hmm.
things that are non-negotiable for me, and I have like a kind of a mode of operation, right, that's around my values,
Hmm.
and I've got really clear on that.
Hmm.
And so it's much easier for me to say no to things without guilt
Hmm.
because I know how it all stacks up
Hmm.
from the big vision of what I'm trying to create down to the granular detail of what do I do now at 10 o'clock in the morning,
Hmm.
and and how does that choice of what I do at 10 o'clock affect that vision.
Yeah.
And that's what you get from joining this community.
Mm.
You get to expand and to have somebody who sees that expansion in you and the
Hmm.
community of other people who are backing you and seeing you in your greatness,
Hmm.
down to, right, what do we do now?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And what the fuck, sorry, I'm swearing here, what's
That's all good.
right and what
Yeah,
do I say
totally.
no to?
Yeah.
So, I think like we can all be at the risk, probably too many people are focused on the next thing, they're too much
Hmm.
in the micro.
Hmm.
But if your macro and your micro don't connect,
Hmm.
you just walking around or running around aimlessly.
Totally.
So I feel like I've got direction and purpose.
Yeah, I love that. I'm so happy that you've like kind of reflected that back because it's something that I think is so powerful, so simple. Just that alignment of how this small action connects to the bigger thing, and that's really what we're looking for. I think is like this alignment of this one seamlessly pointless action actually gets me one step closer to the big thing, which is so vast. But when there's that connection, we just take the action, right? I love
Yeah.
that. Beautiful. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
No, just a huge thank you for to you and for everybody in the ECC for literally coming into my life. And
Mm,
it's been a it's just been a beautiful 6 months, and I've made connections and friends for life.
mhm,
Which again is something I may not have thought I was going to come in,
mhm,
like and find. So it's given me a refreshed energy, because I
mhm,
think you sometimes get to a point in your life where you just think, oh, I've met everybody I'm going to meet.
mhm,
Yeah,
mhm,
like friends wise, like your world gets a bit smaller or whatever,
mhm.
and I've just met some incredible people, and it's just been a huge privilege to share that journey with them.
Yeah, amazing. Well, look, you attract your vibe. Your vibe attracts your tribe, and you're such a beautiful part of the community. So yeah, thank you so much for everything. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.